Welcome to the 2022 Whole Cities Community First Getting Started webinar. If you are new to the Community First grant, you are in the right place. Our goal today is to get us set up for success in finding and nominating a partner. We'll start with quick introductions, then give everyone an overview of Whole Cities and talk specifically about the Community First grant. The grant process and how to submit your nomination. Then we'll provide some tips for finding a local partner, nonprofit partner, to nominate if you're currently engaged, if you are not currently engaged with a partner. Next slide, please. I am Shantae Williams. I am the Director of Revenue and Communication for Whole Cities and Whole Kids Foundation. I've been at the foundations for 2 years. And essentially, I collaborate with our team here on the communication strategy for Community First Grant. Nikki?
Awesome. Hey, everybody, I'm Nikki. I have been with Whole Foods for over 15 years and have been with both Whole Kids and Whole Cities for, over 3 years now, I think, helping to lead digital communications and team member engagement.
Hi, everyone. I'm Diana Purcell. I've been with Whole Cities for 7 years now, and I work with Brittany to help support your nominations and your partners' applications, and then help support your partnerships throughout the year. So thanks so much for being on the call.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Tran. I'm the project manager for Whole Cities and Whole Kids. I've been with Whole Foods for over 15 years and with the foundations for 3.
Hello, everyone. My name is David Ramos. I'm the Digital Communications Specialist for Whole Cities and Whole Kids Foundation. I've been with the foundations since this January, so I'm pretty new to the team, really excited to get to meet everyone. And I support both foundations and the teams with digital communication, social media, and all of that fun outreach.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany Reyes. I am the Grant Program Specialist for Whole Cities. I've only been with Whole Cities for the past 2 months. I'm very excited to be here with you all. And I help support the Community First Grant as well as our other grant programs and help Diana run these programs very effectively and efficiently.
Thank you, everyone. So the best way to reach us is whole.cities@wholefoods.com, and we'll get you to the right person. I know we shared a lot about what we do, but that is the quickest and easiest way to reach us. Next slide, please. So let's get started with an overview of Whole Cities Foundation. Whole Cities Foundation mission is to expand access to fresh, healthy food and nutrition education. We help build individual and community health through partnerships with community-led organizations, and the Community First Grant is a major way that we accomplish that goal. Next slide, please. So everything we do at Whole Cities Foundation really starts with our Community First principles, and that includes this grant. Our approach includes supporting locally led, locally supported, and often overlooked organizations that are leading homegrown solutions. We work with local organizations to craft our grant program, and we get the word out about opportunities. Having community members or peers review applications and nominations. We offer responsive support shaped by community members' evolving realities and goals. Shifting power dynamics both between philanthropy and communities and within communities themselves. And so essentially, these Community First principles, it sets us up for success with these partners, and it helps us approach our community partnerships in a fresh way. I'll say that. And so it's very different than most organizations, the way we address public health. So while our work was not inspired by the opening of the Whole Foods Market Detroit store, Whole Cities Nonprofit Foundation is not a grocery store. And essentially, Whole Foods Market provided healthy food to shoppers, while Whole Cities supports nonprofit organizations in surrounding communities that are helping to expand healthy food access. Next slide. When we use the term food access, we're talking about increasing fresh, healthy food options. And what does that mean? That means fruits and vegetables are affordable, high quality, familiar, and close by. Community members have a safe, accessible way to reach them. Access is for the long term. And the example we give here is just a garden that produces for years versus providing a one-time meal, something that you might receive from a food bank. Community members have a say in the sources of their fruits and vegetables. For example, by running an urban farm, directing the dollars to mobile markets, or investing their time in a community garden. Next slide, please. Both food access and food redistribution are important, but Whole Cities is all about food access. Food donations feed more people who are experiencing hunger today. We support community members who are experiencing their own healthy food access for the long term. So, we always talk about a donated bag of produce versus a garden that will produce for years to come. This often means growing more food locally to increase the availability of high quality, affordable produce, employing more neighbors, and keeping more dollars in the local economy. But solutions can take many forms when they're informed by the barriers based on the goals of the community. Next slide, please. And so here's a list of what we fund and what we don't fund. And this list is made available on our About Our Grants landing page on the Whole Cities Foundation website. And next slide, please. Pass it over to Brittany.
So what types of long-term food access solutions do we support? Our partners lead many different projects, but the most common are community gardens, urban farms, agricultural skills development programs, farm stands, farmers markets, pop-up markets, mobile markets, nutrition education, and healthy cooking classes. Next slide, please. To date, Whole Cities has supported over 226 nonprofits across 124 cities in the US and Canada, contributing more than 3.3 million to local communities. And now I'll pass it over to Nikki.
Thanks, Brittany. So let's dive into the Community First grant. So initially, when Whole Cities started our work, we were supporting organizations in 5 cities where Whole Foods Market was opening stores in communities with barriers to fresh, healthy food access. So the Whole Cities team was looking for ways to expand our support to more cities while also maintaining our community-led approach with organizations and knowing that grassroots solutions are going to be the strongest solution for each individual community. So in 2016, we realized that team members are also active in their community, and team members use their voices to say that they wanted to support organizations in their community. So team members are often leading impactful work to overcome healthy food access barriers in their cities. So we ask team members to let us know who's leading the great work in their community and to also be engaged throughout the grant year with these organizations. And so in 2016, the Community First Grant program was created. And the goals of the Community First Grant are to expand Whole Cities' support for access to fresh, healthy food and nutrition education while supporting team members' passion for service. So since 2016, we have awarded 283 grants in 120 cities, investing over $1.7 million with help from over 160 team members who both nominate the organizations and commit to volunteering with them during the grant year. So here you'll see a map we recently updated that has included our locations for our team members and partners since 2016. This growth and support is only made possible by Whole Foods Market team members. So if we don't thank you enough through this entire process, we want to take a moment and thank you for even just being interested in this program and for all of the team members who have participated to make this program what it is today.
All right, so now,
over to David.
Thank you, Nikki. So now we're going to chat through some team member eligibility and what it looks like to participate in the Community First grant program. So to be eligible, team members must be, first of all, you have to be a Whole Foods team member in good standing. You also have to ask your store leader to complete the STL support form by June 15th. If you're an office team member, please have your team leader complete the form. And if you're a facilities team member, please have your FTL complete the form. You also must be able to volunteer with your nonprofit community partner, and it must be done in your personal time. Whole Foods will not provide, Whole Foods Market or Whole Cities Foundation will not provide compensation. And you must also nominate a community partner willing to complete an online Community First Grant Program application. The application will include questions regarding the organization's work, leadership, impact, community engagement, long-term plans, and finances. You must also nominate a community partner focused on expanding long-term fresh, healthy food access or offering healthy cooking classes. This grant will not be a good fit for food pantries, food banks, and other food donation or redistribution programs. You must also nominate a community partner primarily focused on serving adults. The Community First grant will not be the best fit for community partners that focus primarily on children or schools. Visit our sister foundation, Whole Kids, to learn more about their grant programs. And you must also be willing to submit a short, mid-year, and end-of-year update, including a brief summary of how things are going and photos of your partnership in action. So we love to share, we love to see how our partnerships are going, we love to see how everything's going, and we love to promote those on social media. So those reports are really important to us to just show off that success that y'all have going on. And then for participation in the Community First Grant Program is really determined by each team member and partner to meet their goals for the grant year. There are a few suggestions for participation that helps to make a strong partnership, such as team members volunteering for their community partner. So volunteering can take a variety of forms, like the team member or a group of team members going to volunteer with a partner on site, or even inviting your partner to come into the store to collaborate with other team members. For example, in the top photo on the slide here, you'll see Lauren and Crystal from the Altamonte Springs store in Florida, who invited their partner, the Fresh Stop Bus, to meet with the produce team to learn about crisping leafy greens and reducing spoilage. Obviously, with COVID, we want to make sure that any volunteering that happens is done safely. So definitely check with your partner to see what their current volunteer status is. Another example, we really want to make the Community First program collaborative. So the Whole Cities team will invite Community First grant team members to occasional webinars, calls, or email updates designed to share best practices, support CFG partnerships, and keep Community First grant team members in the loop on upcoming deadlines and opportunities. Any calls or webinars will be recorded so that team members who aren't able to join or don't get approval from their team leader to join live can still access them and watch and catch up and get all of that information. And lastly, a great way to support the Community First grant program is to help spread the word to your fellow team members. It's best to have your STL support so that you can share information about your partnership and any volunteering opportunities with other team members. Examples, posting a sign-up sheet for a volunteer day in the back of house, speaking at huddles for store team meetings, once those are safe and to bring back. Thank you so much. I'll pass it over to Nikki.
Awesome. So let's jump into the basics of the Community First program. So here's kind of the flow of how the process will work. So interested team members will be asked to complete a 5 to 10 minute super quick training. It will be available on our website before you submit a nomination to make sure your partner is aligned, to make sure you know kind of all the steps that go into the Community First grant program. And then after you get your STL or team leader approval and complete the training, you would nominate an organization doing work in food access or nutrition education. Then after all team members submit their nominations by June 15th, there will be a group of team members who are peer reviewers that they will review the nominations and recommend which organizations Whole Cities should extend an invitation to complete a grant application. So once invited, your organization will submit their grant application. Whole Cities reviews their submissions and selects the Community First grant partners. Grants are $8,000 US and $10,000 Canadian dollars. Truly the magic of this program is team member involvement throughout the grant year. So throughout the year, team members volunteer, as David was saying, with their partner in ways that meets the goals of the organization and the capacity of the team members. This could be anything from scheduling regular volunteer days, as David was mentioning, to hosting a mobile market team in the store, to talk about things that might support their program. So it really could be each, team member and organization partnership is very unique to that team member and organization, which makes this program really special. So to look at the dates for this year, here are some key dates to kick off. This is our Getting Started webinar. We wanted to start this early enough so team members could have enough time to start looking for partners if you don't know of a partner, if you're not engaged currently with a partner. One shout out we'll give at the end of April, we're hosting a really cool virtual event. It's a virtual field trip with a North Atlantic partner about Fresh. So make sure to register for that. You can do that on the 2022 page, which I will put in the chat. So team member nominations will open May 3rd. It'll be here before we know it. And team members will have through June 15th to complete their nomination. We will have another Q&A, which will just strictly bring your questions on May 12th that you can register for on the website as well. As always, you can email whole.cities@wholefoods.com anytime leading up to the nomination period. During, we do receive a lot of the nominations the last 48 hours of our nomination window. So we really encourage team members to get in your questions, get in anything that we can support from our team early, hopefully maybe the week or two before, so you're not feeling stressed on your end to submit your nomination. And once again, your STL or team leader support forms will be due by that deadline as well, June 15th, which will also be linked on our website. From July 6th to July 27th, the team member review panel will go through all of the team member nominations. In mid-August, we will be reaching out to those team members to let them know if their organization is eligible to apply, and we'll also invite those organizations to fill out a grant application. And then early November is when we'll go out big with our announcement of all of our Community First grant partners and team members. All right, so let's jump into the resources and materials we have for y'all this year. So if you just type in wholecitiesfoundations.org/CFG, you can get to our 2022 landing page. We've got on this landing page, we've got examples here of some huddle topics you can download and print if you're responsible for those in store, if you know of who to send these to. We also have kind of a back of house poster or logbook poster that you can print and put in for other team members to be aware of this program. You also have eligibility on this page. We'll have the timeline, the STL support form, and your link to the nomination. Obviously, once it's live, you can still click on it now, but it won't be live until May 3rd. And then if there's anything missing from this page or resources that we could create for you, we would love to know. So feel free to email us once again, whole.cities@wholefoods.com. We will have articles going up on interview on May 3rd. We'll have daily notes for store, for STLs and store leadership and store support leadership. We'll have, back of house screen signage. We're trying to cover all the bases, but if you think of anything, even if we have it on our list, we would love to hear it twice and make sure that we have everything covered so more and more team members can know about this program.
So one of the things that I like about the program is that it really welcomes team members who have been participating with their partner for many years and welcomes team members who are just getting to know an organization in their area. So if you are looking for a partner, we have some tips on ways to get started. So the first is to tap into your network. So ask fellow team members if your store or office has supported local organizations in your area through the Community First grant or other events or sponsorships. Also ask your friends, your family, those that you are connected in your community, because this really is focused on local organizations, community supported organizations. Another way of going about it is a good old Google search. They can be really fruitful. So you can find organizations in your area by searching your city's name, plus agriculture, community garden, mobile market, healthy cooking classes, food justice, and more. It's one of those things where once you get going, you can really get down the rabbit hole because there's so many communities going on. So it can be a really inspirational rabbit hole to go down. And then one thing to think about as you're doing your search is to find the geographic location. So you want to look for organizations that are close enough that you could regularly visit. And then also to keep in mind Whole Cities mission. So as our team has been talking about, we're really focused on long-term healthy food access. So looking for organizations that are looking to grow for the mid to long term, rather than food pantries or food banks that are doing amazing work, but in hunger alleviation. Next slide, please. So when you find an organization that you're interested in, give them a call or send them an email to introduce yourself, learn more about their work, and let them know about Whole Cities and the Community First Grant. You can let them know you'd like to nominate them for a Community First Grant and ask them if they're interested. You can explain why you're interested in supporting them and why fresh, healthy food access is important to you. Feel free to share the links to the Whole Cities website and the Community First Grant page to let them know there'll be a sample nomination form that they can see on our site to make sure this grant would be a good fit for their work. And then ask the nonprofit what their goals are for the year. And if you'd be interested, if they'd be interested in having you and possibly other team members at your location volunteer. And if so, what that could look like. So what do they need volunteers to do? How often do they need help? What kind of commitment do they expect? So with some organizations, you can sign up to volunteer one session at a time, or have something that is just for your team if you've got a big team to come out for a garden build day, for instance. While others prefer longer term commitments. They want to know every quarter to expect this many team members. So just ask. Some nonprofits may want to set up special volunteer opportunities with your team, as I mentioned, or fit into existing volunteer days. So be curious and ask those questions. We always want to be in service of the partner's goals. So it's really important to listen carefully. But I also encourage you to give some thought to the expertise that you bring from being in the grocery business. We've seen so many amazing partnerships where team members are learning from their partner, but they're also able to give their skills as well. So David mentioned that partnership in Florida where a mobile market team regularly comes to the store with their team member to walk the produce department, talk about cold chain, talk about presentation. We've had team members go to a pop-up market to not only volunteer at the market, but also to talk through merchandising, to create signage, to talk about flow, and bring all that they've learned working at Whole Foods with them to that volunteering. So your expertise is at the door, and we really encourage you to think creatively and listen for what your partner is asking for, if there's a way that you could fulfill that as well. Lastly, if they're interested in being nominated, be sure to keep your organization and your team leader or STL or FTL in the loop as you move through the nomination process. So that means not only getting your STL, TL, or FTL to submit their support form by June 15th, but then also following up with them and letting them know, hey, I heard that we got selected and the partner's going to have submit their application now. Hey, my partner's doing this in January. I want to make sure that our team members know about it. So really keep everybody in the loop, and that can help other team members participate at your location. So next slide. I think we are going to move on to questions. So you can place these in the if you'd like. If you're a team member who's participated in the past and you're on the call and you'd like to share any tips of what has worked really well, both in the nomination process for you, but also in your partnerships throughout the year, please go ahead and in the chat, or I think if we have a hand raise function, you can do that as well. But really this is your time because we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to ask any questions that you might have. So thanks for being here, and let's get the questions going.
I will make one mention before give folks time to think of a question. As Diana mentioned, we will put up some sample a sample nomination form, a team member nomination form on the 2022 page. So keep an eye out for that. So you can kind of look at the nomination form, see what types of questions will be asked, things like that. So you can kind of prepare for the May 3rd opening, and then we'll have a link for the community partner application as well. So you can send that link to any interested partners, just so they know kind of what's expected of that initial application or nomination.
Good point. One question that we often receive is if a partner can be nominated more than once. And the answer is yes. We've had many partners who have been nominated multiple years and sometimes by different team members. So when a team member leaves a store, sometimes they are able to pass that partnership, that baton on right away, and the partner gets nominated again the next year. Sometimes it takes a couple of years, so that's okay. If you hear that your store had a partnership before, maybe in 2017, but don't have a contact with that partner anymore, you can reach out to us. We can provide contact information, or you can reach out to the partner directly if you have it and get that relationship going again.
We'll make a plug for where you can find kind of the list for previous partners for maybe your store or region. If you go to our general Community First Grant page, which I'll put a link in the chat, we have it broken down by year all the way back to 2016. So you can click on each year and it's broken down by region. And you can see the organization, the team member. So if you know maybe that team member is no longer with Whole Foods, that's what Diana was referring to reach out to our team and we can help connect you with an organization. It's a great way to start finding a local partner. Diana, one question we get a lot is if a team member can nominate more than one organization. Do you want to answer that question?
I would be happy to. So we welcome team members to nominate up to 3 organizations with the expectation and the hope that the team member recognizes their capacity. So some team members having one really deep partnership is as much as they can do, and that's fantastic. That's wonderful. We have some team members who have deep relationships with multiple partners, and they're able to sustain more of those partnerships throughout the year. So we just ask you to limit it to 3 because we really want to make sure that each partnership gets the proper support that it deserves. It looks like we have a question that just came in about an organization can be sponsored if they are not a 501c3, but if they are fiscally sponsored by a 501c3. That's correct. So Whole Cities is able to support 501c3 designated organizations or organizations that are partnered with a 501c3 as a fiscal agent. So good question.
One other question I see sometimes, and we mentioned it, but I think it might be worth talking about a little bit more, is the location of the community partner. So, when we're talking about, Texas, very spread out. So we might not be able to go to Dallas or Houston if we're in Austin to be able to see a partner on a regular basis. But if you get up into like the NorCal region or even Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, North Atlantic, you guys are so much closer. So your partner doesn't have to technically be in the city where you are located, but as long as you can regularly get to your partner's location to be able to volunteer or support them how you need, that works as well. So just so you know, we have partners that, might be in a different city technically than where the team member or the store is located, but as long as they're close enough to be able to visit them regularly, can totally work.
Good point.
We have another question. How many partners are chosen each year? Diana, you want to take that one?
Sure. It depends on the amount of funding that we have. This year, we have a goal of 60 partners. And our goal is also to include team members and partnerships in every region is always a part of our goal. And we also we're so excited somebody from Canada is on the call because we also have a goal specifically for Canadian team members for 4 team member nominations this year from Canada. I know we presented a lot of information today, so you might think of questions after the call. As Nikki mentioned, you can always reach out to us at whole.cities@wholefoods.com. Another place that answers a lot of the questions that we get frequently is on our Community First Grant page on our website. There's an FAQ there. Every time we host a webinar or have a conversation with team members or get emails, we're always adding those questions to the FAQ to support other team members that might have those same questions. So that's a great place to look if after the call you think of something.
Looks like for all the questions I'm seeing, but once again, everyone, truly, truly huge appreciation for just joining today to learn more, and for what we already anticipate you helping to spread the word to your fellow team members. It goes such a long way to make sure that team members are aware of this opportunity, and for them to know that they can give back locally to these amazing organizations. As always, you can reach out to our team, whole.cities@wholefoods.com, if you have any follow-up questions, because those will happen right when we end. And as always, you can find information on the website, wholecitiesfoundation.org/CFG. And with that, we'll stay on for a couple minutes in the chat if anyone else has more questions, but otherwise we want to be mindful of everyone's time and appreciate each and every one of you for joining us today, and excited for this year's Community First Grant. Thanks, everyone.